In this video, we are just going to have a look at the 2290 delay in the Axe-FX 3 delay block. I did a video a little while ago, actually a little series about basically how to dial in boosts for lead guitar sounds, and I covered delay as part of this, and a few of you asked if I could have a look at the 2290 delay because I kind of skimmed over that one very quickly. This is one of my favorite delay types in the Axe-FX 3. I think it is amazing for lead sounds. I think it's really great for basically any sound, but if you want lush, clean tones, this is a delay to go for. So, of course, modeled on the famous TC Electronic 2290 delay as used by like everybody from the 80s. You know, I remember watching this video. I think it was like Rack Systems or Lab Systems or one of the like LA-based, build-a-rig things back in the 80s. You can find it on YouTube. And they're just talking about how they not only use the 2290 as the main delay processor, but to use it as a chorus and also to use the relays in it as a sort of like the hub of a switching system. So it's a very versatile and desirable piece of gear. But obviously, for now, we're using the Axe-FX. We just want to play around with the delay types. So I'm going to start with a stock stereo delay in the Axe 3, which sounds like this when I engage it. First, here's my dry sound, I should say. So that's the USA 2C++ model with basically a little bit of EQ. Afterwards, I'm just pulling out some frequencies from the IR. The IR that I'm using are these stock York Audio Recto IRs, and then a little bit of multiband compression and a little bit of a pre-boost by the FET Boost. That's one of my all-time favorite guitar sounds, not just in the Axe-FX, but like forever. I love the way this stuff sounds in here. So that is the guitar sound. If I kick in a stereo delay, this is just a stock digital stereo. It does this. So have a listen to how the 2290 immediately sounds different to that. There's something going on there. If you're listening with headphones especially, you'll notice this kind of like psychoacoustic effect that sounds really, really wide for some reason as opposed to a standard stereo digital delay. So what's going on there and why does that sound so wide in stereo? Of course, if you bounce this down to mono, and nearly everybody runs into this at some stage, they're using the 2290 delay and they're playing in mono and they're like, hey, I'm not hearing any of the delay repeats. Why is that? Well, the reason is that if we go to the tone and ducking section in the original 2290, essentially it had a delay line out of phase with the other delay line. So it would give you this thing where, say, the left delay signal and the right delay signal, as you can see here, it says phase reverse right. So the right side was phase reverse to the left to give you this stereo widening effect. If I turn that off and just say none, this is what we get. That's pretty cool, right? That's one of the reasons I love this delay block, especially in stereo, just for that sort of stereo widening effect. Of course, we've got the standard delay time controls in here, time, feedback, right post delay. These parameters here, I basically just don't play around with at all. And then there's the EQ section, which if you want the sort of authentic 2290 thing, you can leave this alone. But I would normally, with just about any delay block, tweak the high cut. So I would normally bring that down a little bit. I'll leave it stock for now so that we can sort of talk about some more things going on. But the modulation was a very popular part of the original unit. So this is what it sounds like at stock settings. The first thing you can tweak is to change the LFO depth range. And to tweak the rate and the depth. You can hear on the high LFO depth that is starting to get a bit too much. If I turn that down to low. Which I think sounds pretty darn good, turning the depth up to 50%. You can, of course, play around with the rate there. And with the time, I normally like to set my lead delays for just a standard quarter note, like so. It's a gorgeous sounding delay. If you want to get more delay mix in there, what I would recommend using, of course, the 2290 was also famous for its dynamic delay, as they called it, which is just ducking. So if you go to the ducking section, you can see that the release time is automatically set to 100 milliseconds on this one, which is about where I would normally set it. So you can turn the attenuation up, and don't be shy with this one. Try 12 dB to start with. I'll probably turn the mix down for lead stuff a little bit and get this. And that's that classic 80s thing that you hear on so many records from that era where the delay kind of blooms up to fill in the blanks. You can go crazy with the attenuation, go over 30 dB. And it's really going to swell out. I like the more subtle settings, somewhere around 12 to 15 dB probably. So yeah, I don't know, somewhere in there, that feels pretty good. Which is pretty awesome. And of course, the Axe-Fx 3 gives us more options than the original unit. Like if we wanted to add some diffusion, that's really easy. It does this. Which is pretty awesome. The original units, obviously, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they don't feature diffusion. And you can also play around with the modulation rate, which is really cool. One thing that I like is if you turn the tempo off and say we set the delay time real short, say, let's go 15 milliseconds. Then we can get, and if we turn the feedback off, we can get a chorus effect by going to the modulation section, or you probably actually just hear it straight away. Set the mix to 50%, and you get bypass, is this? Sounds pretty awesome, and I haven't played around with this with a clean sound yet, but if you do use a clean sound, you would get this kind of thing going on. I love this one clean. This is a gorgeous sounding chorus. Which obviously can do the wobbly vibrato style stuff if you turn the mix up to 100% as well. Or you can turn the, set the mix back to 50%, turn the rate right down and the depth right up, and you get this beautiful widening effect. So that is one of the most underrated uses I find of this block, is actually using it as like a chorus or a widener. Of course, for lush clean sounds, I mean, let's set this to a dotted eighth. This sounds gorgeous as well. If I turn the ducker off, and I'm going to basically turn the modulation down a little bit, this should sound pretty cool. Tap the tempo, and I'll add a bit more feedback. And I love those modulated repeats on this one. You can also pan the echo, say, to the left side and get this. Or to the right side and obviously get the opposite effect, or basically pan it wherever you like it within the spectrum. I normally like this one in the middle for that sort of widening effect. You can also add a little bit of post delay on the right side. Which essentially just acts like a delay offset and makes things sound even wider again. So yeah, there you go. That's how I like to use the 2290 with modulation mode in the Axe-Fx 3. Easily one of my favorite delay blocks for these kind of pristine sounding delays. Normally I like the stereo Bucket Brigade delay for sort of my lead stuff just because it's, I mean, I'll give you an idea of what it sounds like. There's way more high cut in there. So it's a lot more subtle and obviously true stereo as well, as opposed to this one, which is sort of like a faux stereo where it's just reversed the right-hand side phase. But yeah, that just sounds amazing to me. And combining this with the Dimension Chorus is instant, like Dream Theater's first album to me. I'm talking about not Images and Words. I'm talking about the other one, When Dream and Day Unite, which is a really underrated album, I think. I really like Charlie Dominici. Let's chuck one of the Dimension modes on there. You get this. All that together with that C++, like I said, it's early Dream Theater in a box, or I guess so many other players from that era who use the Mesa stuff. You know, Steve Lukather, I'm sure he used like a Mesa preamp for a while and used a 2290. All the Bradshaw Rack guys, you know, the 2290 was just this staple of studio stuff. TC, I know, have a plugin out which apparently models this with like a little dongle, which kind of mimics a lot of the controls. So it's not like a hardware... it's not an actual hardware reissue or anything. It's a software reissue with a controller. But they've got an interesting video. It's in Danish, but you can watch it with subtitles, where one of their engineers is basically talking about all the tricks that the 2290 can do. So that's worth watching if you want to get more out of this block as well. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, as always, hit subscribe, click the little bell, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.